You probably can't see it from down here, but this hawk has a Tim in his mouth.
I hope these New York fans find their way to the exit real quick. Boo, take y'all ass home.
You can't keep getting away with it!
No, this fiend is not acting like he's playing dice on the Knicks logo. He's a maniacal menace, he is.
Is Trae Young valid? No! Fuck Trae Young! Trae Young looks like my dad's dick! Fuck Trae Young! Yeah! If Trae Young was here right now, I'd pull out his fucking hair! Yeah! Fuck Trae Young! Trae Young's bald! Trae Young's bald! Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young!
It's my house and I live in it.
This is grade A heel work. Look at him, he's a villain, antagonistic in nature.
Speaking of the fourth quarter, we saw you do some skipping. Good form. How would you describe your relationship with the New York fans?
Oh, it's a love-hate relationship. I mean, I got a lot of love and a lot of hate, I guess, from them, but I got a lot of love from them too, so it's respect.
I love that. That's so refreshing to hear in today's NBA because players nowadays can't even handle being ratioed on Twitter. And this man has an entire arena of people chanting hatred, malice, vitriol in his direction. And he smiles. He loves it. He claps. He's like, well, I can't hear you. I've seen New York Knicks fans chant, fuck Trae Young, and Trae Young isn't even playing and they aren't even facing the Hawks. Just picture that. You're in your bed soundly asleep, and there are people miles and miles away by the tens of thousands chanting, fuck you. But all it does is add flavor to your slumber. Before the chants, you were just snoring. After you're like, I find this very scrumptious. Now, there will be people, I've seen people on Twitter and people on social media, New York Knicks fans themselves will downplay this and say, Trae Young is 6-14 against us. This isn't a rivalry. We don't care about Trae Young. Well, then I'd love to see how you guys act if this was a rivalry then, if you did care about Trae Young, because you sure seem like you do. Hawks didn't lead this entire game, and the Knicks were doing a good job of keeping things in control up until that third quarter, and nothing was working for the Knicks anymore. Their offense became discombobulated. It ground to a complete halt, damn near went negative in terms of anything getting done. And every time the Hawks got the ball, it felt like they were just able to convert most of the time. And if the Knicks got the ball, Hawks were able to get a stop against them. And the Knicks' perimeter defense was straight up putrid after a certain point. Look, too much space. And then watch this. They essentially let this dude skip to the three-point line and make an open-ass shot. That was Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels had a really good game. This Hawks team, I haven't been able to make really any videos about them, but I've caught wind of the great things they've been doing. The wind itself was telling me the Hawks have beaten the Cavs. The Hawks have beaten the Celtics. And I was like, what? This is the same team. I've been hearing trade rumors for Trae Young for the past year or two. I've been hearing them thinking about a potential rebuild. I've been hearing all types of things where I'm just like, what's going on over here in Atlanta? And I see they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They are currently experiencing some great upward momentum. If they end up going to the in-season tournament final, and let's say they win, that is something that I think this in-season tournament has done a pretty good job of doing, because the team that wins, it'll invigorate them. It'll instill in them something in the way of importance. It'll let them know we are capable of great things. We can figure it out. We have that within us. And it can essentially set the narrative for the rest of the season for a team that happens to do that. You saw it with the Pacers. And I know a lot of people were saying how the East, and I do agree that Eastern Conference last year, playoff wise, Swiss cheese, holes, SpongeBob in nature. But the Pacers did great things on the way there. And it's just up to you to beat who's in front of you, regardless of the circumstances. And these Hawks could potentially be capable of some of the same things. They functioned as a real unit. And going back to Dyson Daniels, for example, he's leading the NBA in steals, and he's in the 20s above second place. That can lead to easy transition makes. You've got Jalen Johnson stacking up points. DeAndre Hunter at 1 point, 17 points in 19 minutes. Team of a team effort. everybody gets something. Everybody's doing something. Everybody's making their presence known. Then I thought, well, let's see how the Hawks deal with the Knicks getting their second wind or resurgence. And it just never showed up. The Hawks stayed that dominant, that consistent, all with Trae Young at the helm. And he didn't shoot the ball particularly well at all this game. He was 2 of 8 from 3-point range, but 11 assists. That'll certainly kind of offset the bad that was present when it came to shooting. But Jalen Brunson had an even worse game. He was about 33% shooting on the night. He was never really able to find his rhythm. Karl Anthony Towns, he played pretty good, and he's been looking pretty damn good, actually, these past couple games. There were a few select possessions during this game where he just dominated down under against anybody who was around him, and they couldn't do anything about him. But every other bit of the offense when it came to the Knicks, it just didn't translate into anything. And I'm just wondering, it's like, well, maybe they should play through Cat a little bit more. If Jalen Brunson can't get a shot, maybe try to kick it and dish it to some people, but nobody else was really shooting the ball too well. OG Anunoby was 1 for 9 from 3-point range. Mikal Bridges was 1 of 5. Miles McBride, 1 of 6. New York Bricks. Y'all can't be doing that. I need you to go to the playoffs and face the Celtics so we can get the all-time matchup of negativity. But as the season goes on, they will get better and better. The chemistry will get better and better. And it's not like they're on some abysmal losing streak or to make me think they're not going to translate any of their newfound additions to the team and star power to playoff entry or playoff success. They've still won, I think, 6 of the last 10 games or so. So it's still good. After the All-Star break is when some teams that aren't doing particularly well prior to that, you would start being a little bit concerned, or no, a lot of bit concerned at that point. Because in approaching that finish line, you want to be upwardly walking and or jogging or running towards it, not limping to get over it like the Bucks were last year, and you see how that turned out. Atlanta now advances to face Milwaukee in the semifinal. I wanted the Knicks to face the Bucks, but with how this Hawks team has been looking, this should make for a very great game. Out west, you have the Warriors facing the Rockets. I think the Rockets won that game. I'm going to make a video on that, or try to, if YouTube allows me. And Rockets versus Thunder should be great too. So all in all, if I had to give a grade of what the in-season tournament has been this year, last year, I wish they added a bit more changes. I wanted to see something more in the way of stakes other than just money. Perhaps a draft pick potentially, but I guess that would have to be augmented because we don't need serial killing terrorists like the Celtics getting another draft pick or a high draft pick. We don't need that. But what do you think about the in-season tournament thus far? What do you think of it in general? On a related but somewhat unrelated note, I used to play a game called Ark Survival. And it's, imagine just being in the wild and wilderness, and then you tame animals and all that, except it's in the Jurassic period, and there's a bunch of other animals too. There was a pterodactyl I got, and I named him Trae Young. Trae Young sounds like a good name for a pterodactyl. What do you think? Like and subscribe if you're new. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.